President Trump. Did you really think she was going to be released right away? Absolutely not. This is a corrupt government in Colorado, the same government that tried to get Trump kicked off the ballot, that voted all of them to kick Trump off the ballot for president. And then the Supreme Court had to come in and say, no, you can't do that. It's unconstitutional. So they're basically going unconstitutional again, guys, right? And they're going to get spanked. So this is what Juan O'Savin sent me. He says, new info on Tina Peters. If you haven't heard, President Trump issued a pardon for Tina Peters yesterday. That's the good news. The bad news is that Colorado Governor Polis has made it clear that he will not allow federal intervention into a Colorado state case, and he's not letting Tina out. So let me read on. I need to send that man a lot of love, and we'll see what happens to him. All right. What is not widely understood is that this was fully anticipated and researched. President Trump, and that's one of the reasons why this took as much time as it did, guys, because a lot of people were saying, why is it taking so long? Why doesn't he just pardon her? As you've seen with James Comey and what's that other Alicia, whatever, the New York DA that prosecuted Alicia Brown, whatever her name is. So she basically they've gone up 3 times against her, and she's gotten off every time. So they really have to have their ducks in a row. Everything has to be perfect. Otherwise, it gets thrown out. And it's probably going to get thrown out anyway, but if they have a lot of stuff behind them, they can really take it down. Now, you guys also know that I've talked about how Denver Airport has underground dumbs. And there's been a lot of stuff that's been revealed about how those are being taken down. So you don't know a bigger picture always, guys. There could have been some activity, which I've heard there has been, of taking down one of the last maglev trains that the deep state had under Denver. So be that whatever it is, if that's even part of this, I don't know. But you got to look at bigger pictures. And I know there's bigger pictures. I used to see them when I was in the CIA, when I was in the SEAL teams and SEAL Team 6 and wherever. But there's a lot more moving parts always to everything that goes on when it's on this level. All right. Lots of moving parts. All right. So he goes on to say, what is not widely understood is that this was fully anticipated and researched. President Trump is on very solid ground on multiple basis, and multiple attorneys have vetted the process ahead. So here's what I would say to everybody. Keep it simple. Federal law was broken by Colorado on multiple levels, guys. Judgment, and they have the evidence, and they've been documenting this, and there's a lot of people going to go down in Colorado. So that's why there's like timing. Sometimes you don't, activate the mission before it's ready to be activated. Otherwise, people can get out of the ambush. All right. When you finally cook off the ambush, you want everybody to go down. So that's what's coming. Judge Matthew Barrett refused to let the jury hear her defense. Federal law requires the evidence to be preserved. 41 motions were denied. The jury never got to hear the truth. Mesa County Clerk Peters is the only clerk in the state of Colorado that preserved proof of Secretary of State Jenna Griswold's authorization of the deletion of state and federal election records illegally. Dominion Vote Systems did the deleting in violation of their contracts, both state and federal. So you see how many laws have been broken by how many people? It's a lot. So you have to have it all documented, have to have it all ready. So when you finally spring the ambush, everybody no one escapes the fire, right? You got the claymores going off. You got the automatic weapons going off. You got the RPGs going in. Everybody goes down. All right. And this is what's coming, guys. One, President Trump is about to research a federal authority concerning pardons that existed prior to Lincoln. So I've said this before, how I said that we are in a very similar situation, Trump and Lincoln, right now, on many different levels. All right. We have a Civil War level, a lot of Civil War level events that didn't get resolution back during the Civil War, guys. And now they're coming to a head again, and they're going to have to be dealt with. Right. So, when they killed President Lincoln and they tried to kill some of his staff and so forth, there's probably some other people that died or were coerced or so forth in President Lincoln's administration. They stopped a lot of things that should have gone forward and had resolution with the criminal activity that happened in the South, right? So they broke federal law in the South, right? And they're breaking federal law now in a lot of these different states, right? It has to be resolved, guys. Just like a previous court was wrong about Roe versus Wade. So Roe versus Wade went on for how long before it was overturned? Like 40, 50 years? How long was it? A long time. So it was wrong. So they finally, somebody got the cojones or whatever, and they got the legal backing to basically take down Roe versus Wade, and it was false. The states have been wrong for 150 years on presidential pardon authority. So you can see you really have to have a lot of stuff lined up before you go in and start throwing down the hammer, guys. That is about to be challenged hard, and Trump will easily win, just like he did when Colorado courts unanimously worked to remove him from the ballot, and the Supreme Court unanimously trounced the Colorado courts and put Trump on the ballot for presidency. 2, the clerk manages, collects, tabulates, reports, and this is Tina Peters, protects election data for the U.S. House of Representatives under federal authority in a federal election, which when you are voting for president, for people that are president, that's federal election. So Tina Peters was collecting all this information, and they were telling her to delete it, and so she didn't delete it, and that's why she's in prison. This has been forgotten and overwritten over time. Now it's time to be revisited. 3, Trump is going to declare a national emergency concerning elections. Now, Juan was on my show a couple of days ago. Many of you have watched it. If you haven't watched it yet, go and watch that. He goes into detail about that. So he's going to declare a national emergency concerning elections. When he does, and this is basically outlining it very, very simply, he will also exercise authority over every aspect of the election process, and no court will have authority to challenge his elections when within the context of that national emergency, dark to light. At that moment, he can/will take physical custody of Tina as an expert and can even make her an election czar when her health is stabilized. For extra credit, Tina can assist and will be a witness whistleblower concerning prison conditions and failures in a Colorado prison system. That is also now an active federal investigation. So it's a federal penitentiary, I guess. So federal investigation on very bad things they did in that prison and very bad things they did to Tina in that prison. Finally, remember the Justice Department's investigations concerning vote fraud in Colorado became criminal investigations 6 months ago. So they've been collecting information and evidence and about ready to throw down on Colorado, guys. So you guys that have been waiting for Colorado to get spanked, it looks like it's coming, all right? And it won't be hand spank. Not going to be a hand spank. That's not an earthquake. it may have started as chest pounding by the governor and other state officials, but soon it's going to be knees knocking in the Capitol buildings of Colorado. Lastly, you will see that just as I said, silver prices are up radically. Okay, so he's pushing silver stuff. Silver, yes. So this is one of the things that Juan comes out with. If you're subscribed to him or have gotten some of his silver, which I have quite a bit of, way early on, and now it's worth a lot of money. All right, so very, very good info. Juan brings it. It's always good to have him come in and give us the insights. Now, how many people thought that, Tina? Now, I saw when he pardoned Tina that it would be, all right, be observant. Don't jump out there. All right, don't jump out there. There's nothing more that you can say now because they're not gonna free her. So a lot of you guys, I saw it online. Millions of people were like, Tina Peters is free. No, she's not free till she's out of that prison, guys. So there's more to go through. So it could it's probably going to go all the way to the Supreme Court. And how long is that going to take? I don't know. We're getting close to Christmas. I mean, this could be ridiculous, but I think it could be resolved fairly quickly within a few days, I hope. Sometime next week is my best guess that this is going to get resolved. Because no one wants to, push this past the holidays. They want to get this resolved, get her medical care that she needs for her lung and so forth. So I think it's going to be, Crenshaw equals Eye Patch McCain. That's a whole nother story. Eye Patch McCain. Yes, that's very good. So I've been calling him out for a long time. And so, Mike, what's your opinion on Crenshaw threatening? I don't think it was a threat. He was just saying there was, some guys at SEAL Team 6, maybe, I don't know. But I don't think guys at SEAL Team 6, because I was at SEAL Team 6, are going to have a problem with Sean Ryan. If the guys at SEAL Team 6 are smart and know what's going on, they're going to have a problem with Crenshaw, all right? Because he's a bad foe, right? Needs to go bye-bye. Texas needs to vote that bad little boy out of there. All right. So I've talked about this for a long time. I'm not going to go into detail about Crenshaw, Eye Patch McCain. I've done many shows about him. Other people have done many shows about him. If you still are clueless about Eye Patch McCain, go back and see some of the shows. He's a bad mofo. He should not be. He has gone against Trump. He has done some very bad things. You're like, what, Mike? It's like, come on. Sometimes it's like my kids. Why? I just told you. It's like you can't have it because you're gonna get all hyper. You're not gonna have candy before dinner. And you're not gonna have candy before bed. Why? So do a little research on that. You'll find out Eye Patch McCain I can't believe he's still there. Well, we know why he's probably still there, because there's election fraud, all right? And he was chosen to be in that position. So it makes you go, because I've said this, there are some bad SEAL types out there, right? And there's a bad SEAL organization. So you have to be aware of all of this. There's good, there's bad. Crenshaw is part of the bad, right? And if you support that, There's a lot of people that I've called out that people still support. And it's like, I followed you until you this guy. And I was like, I'm like a military expert beyond belief. All right. And if I call somebody out, do a little research. Do a little research on your own. And if you can't do a little research, then fine. I'm a bad guy. So that's kind of the way it is. All right. So moving back over to because there's a lot of, to me, that is so sophomoric. It's so low on the totem pole for what's going on. Dan Crenshaw should have been gone long ago. He's still there. He's still making millions of dollars every year, you know, and he only makes 150,000 a year. I don't know whatever hell he makes. I've met the guy. I can tell you that I got a super bad vibe from him. I was and he came to an event back when we had, you know, the COVID nonsense, and everybody's wearing masks. I wasn't wearing a mask. Everybody backstage at the event that I was doing free, me and other military veterans were doing free, pretty much security for. And so he walks up, and I introduced myself, said I was former Navy SEAL, blah, blah, blah. And he couldn't wait to get away from me. That is not normal. I come up on other SEAL bros, and it's like old school, even if I don't know them, right? And he was embarrassed. That's very suspect. All of you should be going, red flag, red flag, red flag. All right. So he's going up to speak. He doesn't have a mask on. And before he goes out, he puts his friggin' mask on to go out onto the stage to speak, like he's been wearing it all the time. And then when he comes off the stage, takes the mask off, and he leaves. Yeah, you know, come on. So I was like, wow. All right. Opinion way low. So and then he started doing some other stuff that was very, very bad. All right. Not helping a teammate out. And that's kind of what we look for. So yeah, Tina Peters, will Delta Force have to go in and free her? All right, because it's turning into be a federal operation here pretty soon. Just like when I was in Panama invasion, I watched the Delta guys practice over and over several times a week, and then they went in and got Kurt Buse out of the Panama prison because he was doing free speech in the radio broadcast, and Noriega was like, no, you can't tell people what I'm really about. So he put him in prison, and so we went and got him. Delta guys did, right? So is that going to happen for Tina Peters? I don't know. What do you think, Lewis? Is Tina Peters going to be freed by Delta SEAL Team 6 guys?
I think it's likely, actually, that something like that's going to happen, because we have to figure this out. And it's so funny because within an hour of President Trump posting his truth that said he partnered, my immediate post was, well, we'll see if they're even going to release her, because you have corrupt judges that are probably going to intervene at minimum. So I love Tina. You know, I've been working in the background on that case, not in public, for a long time. I had not even an inkling of a thought that they would comply and release her. That wasn't even a thought process. I think this is a process. I frankly wish President Trump would have enacted this process earlier, because I know the deteriorating health of what Tina's going through in prison, and her conditions, and how cold it is, and that she doesn't have enough blankets, and she's coughing up blood, it looks like. So these are all very big concerns. That being said, what I think people are missing, and there's a lot of conservatives, and I don't know if they're fake news conservatives or what, which we can address later in this, but there's a lot of conservatives right now that are saying there's no way this is going to happen. And I would just say, okay, let's step back a second. Is election fraud a federal issue with constitutional ramifications? The answer is 100% yes.
Yep.
And this is clear election fraud or election tampering at minimum, right? So that does give, at minimum, and this is what I don't understand. I put this code out before. I think she should have been considered a whistleblower and been yanked out of there a long time ago.
Good point.
That was my advice, but I'm just a dumb white hick from California running for governor, right? But that was what I was thinking, is because there are whistleblower protection laws where you could. It was only the AG, which I do not trust, or the FBI could issue an order saying she's a blower, and they could have gone themselves and picked her up from prison and brought her into even federal custody if they wanted to, right? So none of that happened. So I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but what I will say.
Well, let me add a little bit to that. So we know that when Trump came in, he had to bring in other people into the FBI because it was so corrupt. So that could be one of the issues. They had to get their ducks in a row, get people out of the way that were going to be resistant and so forth. I'm sure there's still resistance, but this goes all the way back to Abraham Lincoln, constitutional rights of the president. And it's going to, I think they had to really get their ducks in a row because once they moved, there's a lot of different dominoes that are going to start to fall right now.
Yep. I agree. And this is a process. So I don't pretend to know what President Trump and his team knows. I just know there's an ailing 70-year-old Gold Star grandmother that maybe only has a few days left under those conditions. So that's a major concern for mine. Now, in regards to going in there, I believe we have everything that we would need to send Delta Force in there and take care of business. Now, I will say, if we're going to send Delta Force in to get Tina, you need to go pick up Jenna Griswold and all her cronies the exact same day.
Yeah, that's not that won't be Delta Force doing that unless they're going to take her out. But so
right,
already convicted. I don't think we need to do that yet. But she, I agree. She should be picked up, and maybe that's part of what this is all about. They're going to do in one fell swoop, gather a lot of these people up. I doubt it. I think it's going to be a hard won battle just to get her released, get her out of there. And maybe, Marines or Delta Force or whatever shows up to escort her out of the prison because they're not going to release her. It's like they'll show up and you're like, you are. Are you going to resist? Because we're going in to get her. And I think that's where this could potentially go.
Well, and think about who would resist. And this is what I'm trying to educate. See, my campaign is about education. And it's gaining a lot of traction. I'm happy to say that we were ranked 14th conservative going in a month ago, and now we're about 3. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
right.
Good job.
There's a dispute that if we're 3rd behind Hilton and Bianco, or if we're 5th. But regardless, we're in the top 5 easily right now. That's pretty awesome. So, but what I've said is I've asked everybody that supported me or paying attention to understand that this is an education process. And it is, because we are not the standard political campaign. We're educating people to what's really going on in the background. I can tell you this probably has something to do with senior executive services also, controlling and puppeteering and everything. So
absolutely.
With the education going on in the background, we have to understand that there's a different way that things are going to be handled. In regards to Tina, I would love to see every real conservative that understands this story soon show up at the doorstep of the jail, right? If we have to, and demand her release. We the people need to step up. January 20th, 2017, President Trump said he handed it back to we the people. Let's have a reality check. We did not take the ball and run with it when he did that. Some of us did. I traveled the country. I did a whole bunch of stuff, right? My wife is definitely stepping up. You're stepping up. People are stepping up, but not everybody's stepping up. But here's the thing we have to understand. This is part of the education process. So you may have a state prison, but you do not have the government running it. You have contractors running it. Now let's think back to Cheney type contractors, right? Deep state contractors that you're very familiar with, right? Running the show. So the question is, if Delta Force goes in there or somebody else, are they going to resist? Because I liken these type of contractors closer to mercenaries. And this is just based on my historical studies. And if anybody can dispute this, is generally mercenaries don't fight as hard as American trained personnel, because they are only fighting for money, where we're fighting for life, liberty, principle, and for our country. So I've, based on my studies, one of the advantages we have other than training is the fact that we are willing to die, and many times mercenaries, and I think you probably saw this overseas, are not as willing to die unless they're indoctrinated from Islam and blow themselves up. What's your take on that?
Yeah, the contractors, like you said, it's for hire. So I worked directly for the CIA. I was a direct hire contractor. So the CIA, almost everybody that works for the CIA is a contractor, right? So that's just that gives them deniability and all kind of crazy stuff, and so that's the way that works. So I'm working for the federal government, but yeah, I agree with you. There were a lot of contractors out there when I worked for Blackwater. As a contractor, I was again working for the State Department, but there were groups that work for other groups, like who's the one that was doing the contracting? He was just, I guess I don't know. So
we'll call him Blacker than Blackwater.
What's that?
We'll call him Blacker than Blackwater.
Blacker than Blackwater, yeah. So those guys that work for other groups were essentially mercenaries, like you talk about. And those guys died, unfortunately, in very, very large numbers because they didn't have the backing of the U.S. government. They didn't have the support systems and so forth, like the Marines would show up to help, or helicopter support, or CIA. When I was working for CIA, they had like unbelievable, groups and so forth. Dick Cheney. So Dick Cheney, his what was that? Halliburton. That's right. So guys who were working for Halliburton died in pretty significant numbers. So they were basically contractors, and for Halliburton, and they didn't have the support system, and they died in massive numbers. So when you look at the prison system, it's like they're working for the federal government, but they're not. They're working for a private company that's working for the federal government. So how dedicated are those guys? And that's an excellent question to ask. I would say probably not so much. If federal troops show up, they're going to step aside right away.
Right.
They're not going to resist. But you will at some point, I believe, like we've talked about in some of these cities, you will have resistance.
Yeah. Now, I would suggest, let's go along with the theory that you'll have a special force operation show up. And I would suggest that you would not see this until the SCOTUS ruling, because I believe President Trump has mentioned several times how he's trying to do this lawfully and legally,
right? Because
he doesn't want the pushback. So I believe they're going to fast track this to SCOTUS, because exactly what's going to happen with these corrupt judges, and they're going to have to go there. Okay, now we go to an appellate court. I think they're going to fast track it to SCOTUS, which they have standing to do based on Tina's health. So if they fast track this to SCOTUS, and SCOTUS rules that President Trump's authority holds up here, and then they refuse to release them, that's when I would suggest you would probably see the military come in.
Completely agree. So that they'll give them the warning. All right. So SCOTUS, is Supreme Court of the United States, has basically told you guys you're out of line. This is constitutional. President Trump has authority to. It's not state. It's a federal issue. The voting, because it was a federal election. The President of the United States, federal, and she saw some things, and you decided to throw her in prison, and you're wrong. He just gave her pardon, so it's time for you to release her. And SCOTUS just said, no, you're wrong, and saying that it's a state level thing. Just like you said, tried to say it was a state level thing that you weren't going to allow President Trump on the ballot. SCOTUS came along and said, no, you will, and you did. So here we are in the same situation once again. What say you? And then we'll see. She should be on the sidewalk within hours of that or less. And if she's not, then some people are going to show up and get her out of there.
Right. So I believe if let's say that both sides of government, the feds and the state, were acting honorably, but they had a dispute. If that was happening, even if the state disagreed, they would release her pending and an investigation and their own appeals in regards to this to see if they could overturn the pardon. That's if both the feds and the state were really having the best interest of the United States, even if they disagreed based on her health, because there's also other reasons you can release her just based on her health. There's statutes that you can put her on an ankle bracelet and release her into doctor's care at minimum. So, but the reality is the state is not operating in good faith, which tells me, and I don't have to be a conservative to know this, that there's a cover up here.
Yeah. And they know that once she's out, then they're going to get all the stuff they've been trying to cover up and suppress is going to get blown out of the water.
Yeah, she's the keystone to election fraud. Think about that. She is the keystone. You pull that keystone out, right? That's holding everything together for the deep state parasites, and everything falls. When I say everything, I mean I'll go as far as we're probably going to have 0 point energy in our backyard.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's go. I mean, behind you is The Art of War by Sun Tzu. I mean, you follow that and you talk about that quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So you have that understanding. I've read that book over and over again as well. And I've been in combat, and I can tell you that we're pretty much, there's bullets and bombs going off, but everything else concerned with combat is happening right now. The posturing and everything that goes along with it. For me, it's exciting because I understand this. I'm not intimidated by it whatsoever. We're getting down to the point where you're gonna do this, or we're gonna come do this, right? And that's that. Once that line is crossed, where federal troops come in and they're claiming, oh, we're state sovereign, blah blah blah, and no, you're not, and you're basically trying to. Just like in, the Confederate States during the Civil War, you're trying to go against the federal government. You're trying to become an outlaw, a separate state from, and that's not, we're not going to allow that. And so we're going to come in and why? Because there's a lot of people in Colorado that don't like you at all and don't believe probably you got voted in. And that's why Tina's in prison. So there's all of that is coming to a head, and it's probably coming to a head for, your state, for California. If this happens in Colorado, like I said, we're looking dominoes happen around the country.
Well, I already know there's investigations into a Texas prison, a Colorado prison, a New York prison, and I think 2 prisons in California that are being investigated and audited right now for mistreatment of prisoners who would be political prisoners. I'm going to say probably, i.e. Robert Young would be one as well.
Absolutely. And there's been many of us have talked about him, and that's just another thing that is one of their manipulation things, executive services and all that stuff. So it goes all the way back to Nazi Germany, really. So, you're going up against a very corrupt and some of the people that are at the top positions that you're up against. Quite frankly, there's no one that come close to you. And I think the people, once they see that, then those other people that are posturing and won't come to debates and so forth are probably going to be pushed out very quickly.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a reckoning on January 10th, because I'm in a debate with there's just 5 of us, and think about this. There's a Daniel Mercury, David Serpa. By the way, I'm going to publicly say both good guys. I think they have the right intentions. I think my negotiating skills, my will, and my solutions are a bit better than theirs, but they're both good guys and have great intentions, in my opinion.
Very good.
And then you have Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco, who are the pick of the establishment, right? Exactly. So we have 5 of us in that debate. That's going to be fascinating. And we'll see if there's a no-show. Because I'm going to say publicly right here, 5 months ago, I put on my website, and you probably remembered, that we're going to eliminate taxes, income, state taxes, and property taxes in the state of California. Bianco just mentioned that he's going to do that. So let's see his plan, because it's interesting. Took 5 months for him to do that after I already had it on my website. I also said I'm going to have a website called exposure.ca.gov, only we're going to host it before then, which we've been building. It's an extensive website. It'll be a place for whistleblowers and get the information out. And what did Hilton just do this week? He released a whistleblower site. His is, I would be scared to enter anything in there, because it's like, we'll protect your information. Don't worry about it. They're not going to post it. They're not going to do anything with it.
He's not in a position to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, they can completely bury it, right? So I would say, if you're a whistleblower, I would be careful. If you truly want to get information out, you'll be able to go to my site soon, and we'll actually post the information that you're talking about, which will actually do something and protect you. But my point is, if I was such a nobody, why are they using the same solutions that I posted?
It's a high appeal. People are like, holy moly, he's going to do that. And so they know there's a big appeal about that. And so they're trying to get their 2 cents in there too. Right. Now, why didn't Chad Bianco come to the debate that you were at just recently?
Well, I'm going to give 2 sides to that story. In fact, in the film that I'm producing right now, which is going to release Wednesday, I go into that a little bit, okay? Which I think you guys are going to love the film. But so what it is supposedly Kim Yater had a conversation with them. They said they were going to go, and then they couldn't. And then Kim rescheduled the whole event around Chad Bianco. Now, and then she mentioned that Bianco's take is different, that he never was going to go there, right? So I'm going to let that play out. What I'm suggesting that both of them do, I would say, if I was Kim Yater or if I was Chad, with the information, that'll take care of that right there, and just say, here's the correspondence, here's what we have. Neither of them have done it at this moment, but that would put a stop to this immediately. It's very interesting dynamic with Hilton and Bianco, right? Which I go through. This is one of many things I go through in this film, so we can show how we are actually being played by a conservative fake news media that people think is on our side, but it's not. Because if I'm going to use Fox News as an example, but they're not the only one. There's a lot of podcasters out there. There's a bunch of controlled opposition, Facebook and X accounts. There's all the other medias. We have to scrutinize OAN, Gateway Pundit. We have Newsmax, Blaze. We have to scrutinize all of them, because here's something that really got me to do this. I noticed almost unilaterally, nobody until just recently was talking about Tina Peters, which should have been one of the biggest election stories in the history. Even if they disagreed, that should have been one of the biggest stories told. Ghosted it. Another huge story that should be told, in my opinion, right, is the massive challenges with the COVID vaccine.
Yep.
Are we on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay. Just the challenges with the COVID vaccine, and we know what they are. The numbers are outrageous.
Right.
Completely uncovered by so many media sources, including some people that are very vested in their time on social media. Like, these people have 400,000 to 500,000 followers, and people are just like, oh, I listen to everything they say. Guys, they're controlled opposition. Another thing they don't talk about, and we know this, you and I have discussed this often, is the child trafficking epidemic, the true epidemic of child trafficking. So if they're not talking about these things, why is that? What's really going on? And I can make several quotes, but one is from Machiavelli. Sure, people have heard of him, right?
Yep.
It says, let the people believe they are choosing, while the prince holds the true reins of power unseen. I can find so many of those quotes from Noam Chomsky, from Sigmund Freud's nephew, Plato 25 years ago said this is how you can control a population. It's called an illusion of choice, which, by the way, the CIA and the KGB mastered the illusion of choice. Absolutely mastered this. And they ran it in elections all over the world for 4 to 5 decades before now.
So yeah, here you are. You have the psyop of silence, exposing fake news conservative, and that's Hilton, probably one of those. I would absolutely have money to bet on that if there was a bet on that. So tell us another production you have. Even while you're running for governor, you have time to do this. Is absolutely amazing. So good job.
I don't think I have time to do it. I'm just doing it.
Exactly.
It's just, you know what? It's a God thing. I was sleeping one night and I'm like, part of it started out personal. I have to be authentic about that. Is I'm like, how could I do a debate on November 8th with Steve Hilton, somebody that was in all the conservative news media virtually every day, yet when it comes to him doing a debate, none of the media is talking about it. None of them. Mm-mm. Not even Fox News. Like, that's just weird, right?
Good point. Yeah, wow.
Go up to the history and the origins and talking to my wife, and I'm like, oh, wow. We've been dealing this with for decades. And they're like, you mean there's more than 2 candidates? Are you kidding me? People are like shocked. And I'm like, I get it. It's the illusion of choice, even on the conservative side. So they are all in on it. And they're CIA controlled, but CIA is controlled by who? I'm going to go through that in the film, because maybe CIA is an underling to somebody else. And we're gonna cover that also.
Comes out the 17th.
Yes, it comes out the 17th, and I just had to go through this, and then it started rolling into other things, and I was thinking, like, what other things are they hiding? And if they're hiding those, they're not on our side. And I think people are going to be upset. There's going to be some news media that is out there. They're going to say, well, no, of course they're on our side. And I go, okay. Did they mention Tina Peters? Have they mentioned child trafficking? Have they mentioned all the deaths from what? No? Huh. Have they mentioned that in every single state there's multiple candidates running, not just the golden childs, that would actually do good if they got equal coverage? No. Why is that? Well, because they're not on your side. You're being controlled. Right. And the conservative fake news media is much more dangerous than the liberal fake news media. Much more dangerous, because they're controlling the direction you're going in and you don't even know it. You're very clear what MSNBC and CNN are doing.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that with COVID, and pushing that narrative. So and we see the cover up with the child trafficking from that, mainstream media as well. And conservative newscasters, if you want to call them that, like Steve Hilton, how much of what he puts out is part of their narrative they want him to put out there. I think most of it. So that's why he's coming in when someone comes up with a really good idea like you, he's like, oh yeah, I have this idea too, and this idea too. That's one of the problems with coming in with change everything like you're going to do in California, which I think everybody's ready for. They're going to try and hijack that, because you're going to come out with your ideas, because you have to present those so people can see that you're legit and that you have a plan. You have you basically have all these people that are ready to implement it, and so they're just going to throw out, just like they normally do, talking points, which is empty behind the scenes.
They are, aren't they? There's not much I can say. You nailed it. And the reality is, this is our time. And I'm not talking about Lewis Herms. I'm talking about we the people.
Beautiful.
This is our time. And we are either going to take the ball and be accountable for the results, or we're going to sit on the sideline. What better opportunity to do that in California, where in 2022, in the midterm election, only 33% of registered voters came out to vote.
Wow.
If we can just push that up to 50%, actually, I did the numbers. Mike, if we can push that up to 37%, we win the election. Imagine if we put it up to 50%. We're probably going to have a mandate, right? Because people need to come out. And I hope I'm the candidate that can motivate people to do something they haven't done before. And that's come out for June 2nd in the primary and vote, because we certainly can make a difference. And I believe we're going to shock the world. Now, what are they going to do afterwards? Okay, I know what they're going to do because I've seen what they've done to President Trump, but that's okay. We're ready.
Well, Juan has come out and said that President Trump is going to declare a national election emergency, and if that actually comes true, then there's no what does that look like for you if they don't do that? So I know you just talked about numbers. I remember there was somebody in your debate that talked about numbers, and you said it doesn't matter about that. If they're going to cheat, they're going to cheat, and there's no one going to win.
Yep.
They're going to select. So we now maybe. When Trump, came into office first time, and then the second time, maybe because there was such overwhelming response, which is possible, he was elected. What are your thoughts on that? Was it really just overwhelming response, or did they hijack the hijack?
You talking about the first time or the second time?
Both times.
Okay, so the first time,
let me say the first time he was elected. And the second time he was elected. So the second time that he went up, exactly. it was stolen. So
two different scenarios. The first time, I think he took him by surprise.
Yeah.
And again, Hillary Clinton was not a quality candidate. Let's just be real about that. No. And then what happened, and that was in 2016. The delta between 2016 and 2020, something happened that nobody talks about. And that was, there was a 2018 election. And what they did in 2018 is in Orange County, California, which is a conservative. At the evening when they announced it, 5 Republicans took all 5 county seats. By the morning, with them watching ballot harvesting come in, all 5 Democrats stole the seats from the Republicans in 2018.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And the Republicans came out and did a conference, and instead of saying we the people need to get up and fight this, they unilaterally got together and said, we will get them next time. So they were either complicit, they were scared, or stupid. And I don't know which one of them, but one of those things was happening.
Neither one of them was winning hand.
Yeah. So at that time in 2018, the deep state knew that they won the 2020 election. And here's why I believe that. Because they already knew ballot harvesting worked, because it's been going on for several decades in other countries. Our CIA has been running that effectively, even machines effectively. No CIA agent has never contacted me in all the years I've been saying that and say, Lewis, you have it wrong. Guys, call me, prove to me I have it wrong.
I'll tell you, in Afghanistan, they were running it. CIA was running it, because I asked, and they said, "Don't worry, our guy's going to get elected." I was like, "Okay."
There you go. Yeah. So the CIA knew it works, right? So they already knew that ballot harvesting works. So they weren't testing whether ballot harvesting worked in the United States, because the process is the process. You just reapply it someplace else. What they were testing, Mike, is what was the reaction of the Republicans. And when they saw how apathetic they were just to cave over and say, we'll get them next time, at that moment, they knew that they stole the 2020 election from President Trump, in my opinion. Now, fast forward to 2024. I believe that President Trump was so good and Kamala Harris was so bad that the delta was unworkable for them between the two. So I believe, in my opinion, what happened is they said, we're not going to cheat as much against President Trump, and we're going to let this ride. So they spent all their focus doing something that's probably a lot more dangerous, and that's stealing the down ballot elections. And they put a lot of people in, right? So you have some real baddies, some George Soros type baddies all throughout the country that can fight against President Trump's agenda. So they thought that could probably buy them 4 years of just stalling whatever President Trump does, which in the long run, if we don't fix this, would actually be worse than if they took the president's spot again. Because I think there's more damage that you can do on a micro level than you can do on the macro level. So that's my opinion of what happened in 2024 election.
So you get elected, and what does that do for the country? What does that do to other states that have been basically stealing elections?
That's a great question. So let's just be real. Where California goes, the rest of the world will follow.
Yeah.
Literally, you're talking about the fourth largest economy if it was a country. Everybody's looking at California. See how glorious and how beautiful California used to be, right? They know that we're now the laughing stock. Now, I think something horrible happening right now really works to the benefit of a conservative right now. I believe that the deep state, the parasites like Gavin Newsom and his cronies, they know that they've lost in the future. So unfortunately, in war, which we are in, if we're going to be honest about that, the losing team often goes scorched earth right before somebody takes their territory. And I believe that's what Newsom and his deep state cronies are doing to California right now. They're trying to scorch earth it to take down as much as they can and destroy it. And at the same time, it has a side benefit. And that side benefit, is if they can drive all conservatives out of town after the elections get repaired, they may have an honest election and still win because there will be no conservatives left in California. So I'm looking at their plan. It's very obviously, because I spend a lot of time trying to get into the head of the enemy, so I know how I can combat the enemy.
That's fantastic. And yes, it'll be interesting. So your next event where you're speaking, is that going to be a public like the last one?
Well, I'm speaking a lot in the meantime. I mean, I'm actually speaking in Malibu tomorrow, right nice. before a massive flag run. That will be fun. Is they're doing that, and they're doing I don't know if it's a MAGA or a Trump flag run. I'm not quite sure, but they invited me to speak. That's Saturday at 9:30 a.m. in Malibu. People could see that on my site. And I have several other speaking engagements that we're going to start listing on my website. And then the big debate is January 10th. I go on tour somewhere around January 22nd. Probably do 4 weeks of tour, take a week off, and go back on for another 4 weeks is what it looks like.
Wow. So is that under events, that all the stuff that you have?
I don't have it there. We can go to social media though, and they'll find it on social media. I'm just rebuilding the events page right now.
Gotcha. Okay. Good. So I like the date that you're going to release that video, the 17th. That's a nice number. So.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I don't know how many times I've done something and it's landed on that date.
I know you've done that quite a few times, actually.
Yeah, and I'm not ever thinking about it ahead of time. It just happens to happen.
Yep. And I would, if some of you are like, Lewis is a long shot. So Lewis was having these events where he would come and speak. And one of the events where he was down in, I think it was Sarasota, where I was at one time in Florida. And we were going to go up and we were going to speak at the Georgia Guidestones, and we're going to pray for them. And they blew up before we got there. So that's don't ever discount Lewis. So you never know what's going to come. So I think you're going to blow it up in California and be the next governor.
I thrive on being the underdog. Yeah. When I played sports, you played pickup games, sports, football, baseball, basketball. I was very undersized. I didn't really start growing until after I was 17, right? So I was super undersized. I would always get picked last. The next time I was always picked first. So I'm up for the fight, y'all. We've got this.
Yeah, I was the same way. I was a runt, and then I just blossomed. Then I was on everybody's wish list team. So
Right, exactly.
yeah, and then went on to do SEALs and all that kind of stuff. It was great. But from that, I started to learn all of the deep state activities and the stuff that they do, and I see that our country is in great danger. So we need patriots like yourself that are willing to step up and do the right thing, have the right background, love of our country, and so forth. You have great ideas. Wow, your ideas are really unbelievable. So you would work really in the presidency. So if you do a good job in California, who knows? Maybe you go all the way if you want. So that's fantastic. So Louis, thanks so much for coming on and giving us your insights. You're a great man, great brother, and I look forward to speaking in the future and being there to support you.
Appreciate you, Mike. Y'all just go to hermsforcali.com, volunteer, donate, whatever you can. We've got this, but we have to do it together. That's just the way it is.
Absolutely. And you're not under any party, are you?
No. So which actually gives me an advantage that people don't understand, because it's a jungle primary, which is an open primary. So the non-political parties or the independents combined have recently surpassed the Republicans in numbers. Think about that.
Yeah.
So I'll grab the majority of them. I'll grab a good portion of the Republicans, and based on some common sense ideas, I can even grab the JFK Democrats. So we got a beautiful run. So if people are discounting me, they should probably
That's right. So RFK Jr., has he supported you yet? Come out in the open?
Well, no, but I will tell you, I can officially tell you, as I'm working with 3 people from the RFK Jr. team, literally, somebody that's really friends with Bobby Kennedy just texted me while you and I were talking, and I sent her to voicemail. I'm sorry, she called me. Now she's texting me. I sent her to voicemail, and I just had conversations at a party, I can't say who, with people that are extraordinarily influential that look like they're going to support me also. And I'm learning to play these things closer to my vest, because when I have diarrhea of the mouth, it doesn't always work out.
I do that too. So I didn't want to put you on the spot, but I'm kind of glad I did. I felt that was a good time. And how about that? Your calls, I gave you, I'm good luck for you. So
you are. I was like, oh, wow.
Keep me around.
Because I didn't think I'd hear from her until last week. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
And I really, really want you to be governor of California. That way I can go out of California, because I'm not going back until somebody.
I'm telling you, everybody needs to come back. You know what I mean?
We will.
I'll tell everybody, you guys can stay out to the primary. I'll let you do that. But when I get through the primary, y'all need to move back in and register immediately.
All right. We'll see.
All right, Mike. I'll be bugging you daily.
Maybe we can like move in with Tracy's mom. She's in California just for temporarily. So,
yes.
I don't know. All right, Louis. Thanks a lot. Lots of love to you and your lovely wife, and good luck going forward.
You too, and God bless you and your audience, and Tracy as well.
Thank you.
Take care.